Jack and the Beanstalk. Once upon a time there was a widow who had a lazy son called Jack. They lived together in a tiny cottage. Jack and his mother were very poor. As time went on, they became poorer and poorer, while Jack became lazier and lazier. Soon Jack and his mother were so poor that all they had left in the world was one cow. At last the day arrived when Jack's mother said, "Tomorrow you must take our cow to market and sell her. She is all we have left in the world, so be sure that you get a good price for her." The next day Jack set off for market. On the road he met a butcher who asked him where he was going with the cow. When Jack told him, the butcher said, "I will exchange these beans for your cow." He showed Jack some strange looking beans, all of different colours. "I would be a fool to exchange my cow for your beans," said Jack. "Ah, but these are not ordinary beans," replied the butcher. "They are magic beans." Jack thought what a fine thing it would be to have some magic beans, so he gave the cow to the butcher, put the beans in his pocket and set off for home. "Look, mother," cried Jack, "I have exchanged our cow for some magic beans." His mother was very angry. "You silly boy, now we shall surely starve." In her anger she threw the beans out of the window and sent Jack upstairs to bed without any supper. The next morning, when Jack woke up, his room was much darker than usual. When he looked out of the window, he saw that a huge beanstalk had sprung up during the night from the magic beans that his mother had thrown out of the window. Jack ran outside and immediately began to climb up the beanstalk. He climbed and climbed, but whenever he looked up, the top of the beanstalk still stretched upwards out of sight. After many hours of climbing, Jack reached the top of the beanstalk and stepped off into a wild, bare country. A long road led away into the distance. Jack set off along the road, and soon he met a very old woman. "Good morning, Jack," she said. Jack was amazed that the woman knew his name. "I know all about you," she said. "This land belongs to a wicked giant. When you were a baby, the giant stole all your father's belongings. That is why your mother is now very poor. You must try to get back your father's wealth," she continued. "If you are brave, I will try to help you." At that the old woman disappeared, and Jack went forward along the lonely road. Towards evening, Jack came to a castle. He knocked on the great door, and a woman opened it. "I am tired and hungry," said Jack. "Please can you give me some supper and a bed for the night?" "Oh, my poor boy," cried the woman, "my husband is a giant and he eats people. He would be sure to find you and eat you for his supper." Jack felt afraid when he heard this, but he was too tired and hungry to go another step, so he pleaded with the woman to take him in. At last the giant's wife agreed, and she led Jack into her kitchen. Then she set a fine supper for him. Scarcely had he finished eating when the ground was shaken by heavy, stamping feet. 3 loud knocks were heard at the door. It was the giant returning home. Jack's heart began to thump. The giant's wife began to shake. She grabbed Jack and pushed him into the oven, which fortunately was cold. Then she went and let her husband in. The giant stomped into the kitchen, sniffed around and roared, "Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread." "Nonsense," said the giant's wife. "You're dreaming," and she set an enormous meal on the table. As the giant was hungry, he sniffed no more, but sat down to eat. Jack peeped at the giant through a crack in the oven door. He was astonished to see how much the giant ate. When the giant had finished his meal, he shouted to his wife, "Bring me my hen!" His wife brought the hen and went off to bed. "Lay!" shouted the giant, whereupon the hen laid a golden egg. "Another!" roared the giant, and the hen laid another. Again and again, in a voice of thunder, the giant shouted, "Lay!" Soon there were 12 golden eggs on the table. Then the giant fell asleep in his chair. He snored so loudly that the castle shook.